So we'll go ahead and get started. Darby's covering content today. We're doing email content and landing page. So this is huge. What we tried to do with this, and it wasn't completely structured, but we're trying to give you all the tools to essentially create your own funnel. So we've talked a lot about just general content creation. We've talked about general use of AI, and now we're getting into kind of the nitty gritty that you need to put together some real funnels. So with that said, Darby, I'll let you take it away.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Mark. And I'm super happy and excited to be here, everybody. Talking about Jasper AI for emails, for landing pages, for those ever so important aspects of your funnel as you're nurturing, as you're following up, as you're converting more of your leads into customers and clients to get awesome results from your products and services. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. I have a handful of slides here, but a lot of what we're going to be covering today is going to be extremely actionable. I've got a lot of recipes, prompts, and templates that I put together in a nice little Google Doc, which you guys should all be able to have access to. And we're going to be demonstrating tools like Jasper and ChatGPT, how to use these templates and ultimately to create your emails and your sales funnel copy. So Mark said, my name is Darby Rollins. We're going to be covering a few things today, and we'll cover this throughout the rest of the outline. But world's first Jasper user, what does that mean? Well, that means that end of December 2020, I was talking with Dave Rogenmoser, the CEO, co-founder of Jasper, and he was like, "Hey, we got this really cool tool. You want to help us start to test it out and build it for some of your Amazon consulting?" I said, "Sure." And I sent him $100 and became the very first Jasper customer. First Jasper user. I found out recently I'm actually the first affiliate as well. But I wrote the first book with Jasper, and since I've helped creative content and training and Jasper use cases and recipes that have helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people get on their own process for writing books, fiction and nonfiction alike. And from all of that, over the last 2.5 years, I've started the AIauthor.com, which is the premier resource for generative AI, advanced education, training, and community all around using AI for like growing our businesses with content. So I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. This is what I eat, sleep, and breathe. And so we're going to be covering how to generate high converting email and landing page copy using AI. And so the tools, like we've mentioned here, are going to be Jasper, ChatGPT, and then a basic Google Drive if I'm going to be storing any of this inside of just a Google document or anything like that. You guys will have access to this spreadsheet right here, which basically you can copy for yourself and you can use right now as we're on this call. You could also go back, watch the recording, and go and use for your own offers and your own services. And so what we're going to be getting into today essentially is going to be solving the problem that writing high converted copy for emails, for landing pages, and doing it all on your own without the assistance of anybody, much less AI, is hard, and it takes time, it takes energy, it takes money, and it takes a lot of brain power. But as you've seen throughout this boot camp, we've got a lot of tools at our disposal now with AI that's making this stuff a lot easier. So the goal of this session is going to be really go deep on the two topics of email and the topics of landing pages. So we'll be covering some stuff on just the basics of email, and then actually showing you how to use Jasper and these AI tools to write engagement emails, to write nurture emails that you can put in your follow-up automations, to write emails that you focus on strictly like conversions for, like, let's say selling a product or driving people to opt in for a webinar of sorts. And so we'll be going through first and foremost the step-by-step portion of email. After we go through some of these email demonstrations, I'll go to the landing page portion of this, and then we'll pause at the end for questions. But before we jump right into the email, there's a few things just to know. If you're unfamiliar with like kind of the core principles that drive email copywriting and conversions, is you've got your subject headlines, and like that's one of the most important things that you could do, whether it's for YouTube videos all the way to email and anything. Like your headlines are going to be one of the most important things you're going to want to not only create, but also test. And so testing is a very important part here. And we're going to be using AI to generate a ton of different headlines that we can test. We'll also be covering about email, like the copy, what's actually inside of the email. Is it an email that is going to be like extremely like long, really engaging, and like you're putting all the information in one email? Or in a lot of cases that we'll see with email is opening an email and sending people to drive to like a landing page or watching a video or something like that. We'll be talking about call to actions. Of course, if we're marketers and we're wanting to actually measure the results of our marketing, you always want to include a call to action so that you can track, test, and measure, and then make improvements throughout your marketing funnel based on the data that you're collecting. And then all of this, the content that you're going to be creating with email can of course be used for like follow-up and staying engaged and nurturing people that are like opting into your product or service or whatever you have to offer. But the great thing about email is that once you have these emails written, you can set them up inside of autoresponders like ActiveCampaign, Mailchimp, whatever you're using, to simply just automate these flows so that you're actively staying engaged with people on your list, but you're not necessarily having to manually send out emails every single time. And so that's why email is so effective. And we're going to be covering 3 ways to go about using Jasper and ChatGPT for email on the engagement, the nurture, and the conversion side of things. And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. And you guys should have access to this spreadsheet, or if you guys want to link access to the spreadsheet as well right now, if people want to access it here on the call or afterwards. I've kind of basically just given the same exact outline about what we're going to be going through today that I just covered in the slides. But when you scroll down here to the email recipes portion of things, there's going to be a few of these email recipes that I'm going to show you how to use if you're going to be taking content from that is online, or you're going to be creating emails that are going to fit into any number of these different sequences. As one of them is from a guy named Big Jason. I work with him on some email marketing and copywriting, and we created this this recipe for a really simple but highly effective rewrite to engage with people that are on your list and drive them to send them to, let's say, like videos that people are interested in. Imagine somebody opts into your list because they're interested in dog training, and so you might want to send them a video that's related to dog training and keep engaged with them in that aspect. And so for an email like this, just to show you what we're going to be doing with all of these different recipes here and pre-built prompts, all these frameworks that we're going to be rewriting inside of Jasper, is simply going and copying all of this content right here from, let's just say, this email, for example. And again, this process is going to be it's very much the same every time we go back through any more of these. So I'll just be demonstrating how to go back and use these different recipes for creating this content. Well, if you're inside of Jasper, and if you're not, you should get familiar with this dashboard. You have, I'm going to be opening up Boss Mode, which is my favorite thing about Jasper, because I get to write all sorts of long form content in here. And you get to that by logging into your dashboard, which I think you guys have a sweet deal on it right now to get started with it. You go to documents here on the left-hand side, and you simply select new document and start from scratch. And this is just going to open up your Boss Mode, which is kind of like a Google Docs, but on steroids with AI behind it. And all you're going to do is copy and paste that first recipe in. And it's really important to understand a few elements of what we're going to be doing here with these recipes so that you can apply them specifically to your own business, your own product, and your own services. And that is these 3 variables right up here. We've got our avatar, we've got our niche, and we've got our primary goal. Now, I've already kind of included this as a starter place, but this is something I want to emphasize, that how important it is to add this additional context in, so that Jasper or any AI can have a better idea to give you the better output based on the inputs that you're giving it. So in this case, my avatar would be a dog owner in the niche of dog training with the primary goal of well-behaved canine companions. Now, this is the case if I'm selling like a dog training handbook, or I'm telling a service that's going to help people train their dog, or potty training, or any number of things. You would think about who is the person I'm serving, which is a dog owner. You think about what is the general, like the niche that I'm in 2 to 3 words. And so I would say I'm in dog training. And if I'm helping dog trainers, have a better relationship or have a better behaved puppy, then like that's ultimately their goal that I'm going to be creating content around. And so when you're inside of Jasper, I highlight that now because these are the same 3 things. We'll build on them as we go out throughout today's training, but this is really where everything starts. And I can't over stress enough, especially when you're working inside of something like Boss Mode, that this content brief over here is going to really help center Jasper's attention on exactly what you are wanting to get out of it. But then the rest of this recipe that you notice right here is all additional context for effectively what we're wanting to do is have Jasper rewrite this, which is this recipe was created based off of a Gary Halbert styled if this then that email framework. Very simple, but it's very effective for driving clicks. So you notice the way that this is set up is like verb, primary goal, in time. So if you want to verb primary goal in time with primary objective, objection answered, you have to see this. Click here to verb primary goal in time. It's written like this because Jasper is going to notice and recognize that these things are all going to be related to my specific avatar, my niche, and their primary goal. And that's where this, I call this this prompts. You may use that interchangeably, like a prompt. I call it commands, but this is essentially taking in all of this context of information. What I'm telling Jasper I want it to do is rewrite this content above and replace all of these things inside of brackets with characteristics, thoughts, feelings related to my avatar, my niche, and using a creative story to come up with something that has a similar context. And so at this stage in the game, all you really need is your avatar, your niche, and your primary goal. You need to go down here to put your cursor at the end of this command and simply click compose. So now you see Jasper is starting to rewrite the content above, following the same framework of create a well-behaved canine companion in no time. If you want to have a well-behaved canine companion in no time with the peace of mind that your pup will be respectful and obedient, you've got to see this. Click here to create a well-behaved canine companion in no time. So imagine you have like a video that you're sending someone to that's going to help people like learn a little bit more about how you offer a product or service, how you help people with a specific output. A simple email like this would be great to just send out. Email subject line, hey, if you want this, then you want to watch this video, and you would insert a link, and then you would send people to that video. Now, this is important when it comes to emails because you're first and foremost, you're engaging with your customers on your list, with your subscribers. You're providing them with valuable information that's relevant to what they would be opting into. And then you're also sending them in the form of a click to another page or another destination. And these are all numbers and metrics that you can track whenever you're creating any sort of email campaign. And so, of course, the conversion metric here, after somebody opens up an email, would be for them to actually click on the link for that email. And so you see like subject line here, well-behaved canine companion in no time, perfect balance of kindness. I don't know, firmness makes sense. And so like, as I'm rewriting and running with some of these recipes, like keep in mind that AI is still an AI, and not all of this stuff is going to be like 100% perfect every time. But again, this is one recipe of, we've got like 6 that we're going to be running through for an example of how, if you have any even emails of yourselves that you would want to rewrite, a command like this would work very well for rewriting effectively any email in the same sort of structure that you've set up before. You could run this command directly under it, and it would basically rewrite it, and you would have another fresh email that you can use, prep, and then ultimately send. And so again, a very simple email just to start things off with you today. But with the same process that we're going to go through here, we're going to cover a few more times as we go down the series of recipes that we've got going for you guys. And so you can see that we've got 3 different variations of this email right now. And if you wanted to rewrite this email directly, you would just take this command down here from the bottom. You notice I've got 2 right here. This is another rewrite of a rewrite prompt. And the reason that I added this in with this recipe, and I actually use this quite a bit, is because sometimes when you're rewriting or you're just writing stuff with AI, like it sounds okay, but you want to rewrite it and make it a little bit more unique. Well, this is a prompt that you can use and then plug in, again, behind like a lot of different forms of copy. But in this case, we're talking about email specifically, is you can take this command, and if you're using Jasper, I would add blinders to it, which are these 3 asterisks up here. This means that Jasper is not going to reference all of this other stuff above. And if I want to just rewrite this email specifically, I would put this under the email I want to rewrite. And so you see now it's going to say the same thing, but slightly different. We got a different subject line. Are you ready to unlock, that well-behaved dog that you've always wanted in just 2 weeks? You want to see your pup be the best version of themselves. Again, so I'm like reading this, and some of it's like that wouldn't necessarily come from me. I'd want to edit that. I'd want to modify it and tweak it, just a little bit. But I like this like sign off right here to a more harmonious walk. Let's make that dream a reality. And so again, I'm just kind of like seeing where I can take it with this AI to help me brainstorm these different variations of these emails, to then take that email, pop it into my autoresponder, send it out, and start to, send it out and start engaging with my list a little bit more. So again, super simple, like email style, but the same thing that I just did here with this one email can really be applied to almost any email that you have, whether it's yourself, you've already written it, whether it's an email marketer or an offer owner that you follow, that you really like an email they sent out and you'd like to send a similar one. A lot of affiliates will use a similar sort of approach for rewriting affiliate emails in like a different tone or style of their own tone of voice. Just a little idea for you there if you're selling affiliate products and getting affiliate swipe files. So that would be the email rewrite recipe. Again, very simple recipe, this being the example, but these two commands can quite effectively be used with almost any email that you'd want to rewrite and then just add your own spin to. Obviously, you'd want to add your own personality, your own uniqueness to these as you see fit. Now I'm going to go down to the second part of our emails demonstration here, which is going to be a rapid email nurture writing. And what I mean by nurture emails is more of, and this recipe specifically came from writing follow-up emails for a SaaS company that wanted to just stay relevant and consistent in their leads of their inbox. And they had a blog that they were putting out content every single week to. And it was like, hey, Darby, can you help us with writing like 1, 2, or 3 emails a week that are just like engaging with people? We have blog posts. Let's go ahead and rewrite those. We'll drive people to go to those blog posts on their blog. They have other advertisements. They have special offers for what they're going to be doing, but they need to get people from their email inbox to reading the blog actually, and actually reading and consuming the blog. And so this one, I'm going to go back into Jasper. And anytime you guys are working inside of Jasper in your documents, make sure you go ahead to the upper left-hand corner and just name whatever project you're in. This will help your documents and just staying on top of everything here. So you said like email rewrite, I would start a new document. And this would be, let's say you have someone opting in for a free trial. They opted in for a lead magnet, anything that you want to be following up with people that are opting in, but maybe they're not customers yet. And let's say you have a blog about, I saved one in the dog training niche just for an example here. But let's just say I own a dog blog and someone opts in for like a potential free dog training. And I say, okay, well, I need to send an email out about what are the benefits from dog training. And I actually like this. I just, found this document, but imagine this was on my own blog, or imagine I just wanted to send it out just to throw some value into my leads inbox. So I would pull up and first find a blog that I want to, write an email about. I'm going to copy this from this recipe right here, paste it into my document. And now that I've got that recipe pasted in, I'm going to go over to whatever blog. Again, this is a dog training blog for an example. Well, I'm just going to take this blog and I'm going to take some general context about like the blog up here, like maybe like an introduction paragraph, and say, okay, I'm going to write an email that's going to send somebody from their email to go and read this blog. So just copying a little bit of context from that website. I'm going to paste it right here up to the top. And then this simple command here, write an AIDA framework with a CTA, call to action, to read this article. I could take this and tell Jasper with a simple command shift enter is going to write an AIDA structured piece of copy that I'm going to use as kind of a starting point for the rest of the content that I want to write off here. And so, for example, attention, do you want to build a strong bond with your dog? Interest, dog training is an important part of being a responsible owner. It's not only fun and rewarding, but it also helps with creating a better relationship between you and your pup. Learning basic commands like sit down and stay and leave are essential for any dog owner looking to get the most out of the canine companion. Desire, with successful training, you can have peace of mind knowing that your pup will obey commands when needed. Plus, there's plenty of benefit, such to, improved behavior in public places or around other animals, right? Action, click here to read now to learn more about your dog. And, then you would just add your name here at the sign off and you could be all set, right? Now, this is just one generation. And if I'm going through writing maybe a series of these sort of types of emails for different blog posts, you might want to run this command a few times. You might want to piece the different outputs in terms of the AIDA together and kind of mold this into an email that you'll then finalize and actually go and click send. But again, this is a pretty tried and true and tested over time framework for just capturing attention and then inserting that call to action. In this case, if we're building our nurture sequence up with our leads, then we want to be sending them information. This might be a blog post, this might be a YouTube video, anything that you'd want to send them to. But the goal here again is to get the email body copy written, and then we'll write an email subject line based on the copy of the body, and then we'll wrap up our nurture email, and then I'll go and do the same thing for any number of blogs that I want to write, whether it's 3, whether it's 10, and get those rewritten pretty quickly here. After you've got the body of your email written out, this command down here is just simply write a list of email subject lines based on the topic above about creating, that's what it is. Topic above, Command Shift Enter. And that Command Shift Enter is just going to give Jasper the command, say, hey, write this out for me right now. So now I'm going to look and see how to train your dog for obedience, step-by-step guide, the benefits of training your dog, why you should do it. So I would take a few of these and I would test at least 2 of them. So I grab the benefits of training your dog. I'd say, okay, cool. I'm going to test that one. And then I'm going to say building trust through training, how to create a strong bond with your pet. Now, let's say you want to test these 2 and the building trust through training ends up getting like an insanely higher number of opens and clicks. Well, maybe you need to start doing more content around like building trust through training. And then you're taking, again, the winning subject lines, and that's going to help inform the type of content that you're going to want to continue to keep sending throughout these follow-up engagements for folks as they're coming through your funnel and they're converting. So we've touched a little bit now on that first email, which was just the email rewrite with Big Jason. You're sending an engagement email out to somebody, you're getting the click and follow up. We're taking another approach to it, to just taking like existing blog content that you might have written or pulling from someone else's blog or video, writing copy around the email with a call to action to people to go and watch or consume that content. And then we're creating subject lines. Well, maybe you're wanting to like really push for like a sale of a product now, or maybe you're wanting to, write a little bit more of a conversion focused email, which is like, I'm really pushing for people to go here to opt in or make this purchase or otherwise. One of my favorite templates inside of Jasper is this John Benson mini VSL template. And so this I find to be extremely effective, not only for mini VSLs, video sales letters, YouTube scripts, things that like social videos that you're just filming yourself and are sending people to landing pages. These also work extremely effectively for just email copy, because it follows all the same the same frames that when we were working with John Benson to create this recipe, that it just increase your ability to capture people's attention and then ultimately drive an action from that attention. And so this is kind of a 2-part recipe. I'm going to show you how you would go through and fill out the content of this recipe. But inside of Jasper, again, dog training email 1, you're just going to want to name this whatever you'd want to name it. But inside of Jasper, another really cool thing that, I think cool, but also like extremely helpful when you're looking at building these different pieces of like content out that might require multiple different commands, multiple templates, is Inside of Jasper Boss Mode, you've also got, of course, what we've been looking at right here, which is kind of a longer form Google Docs with the content brief over here on the left-hand side. But what you've also got, if you look at the top of your screen, is Power Mode. And what this gives you the ability to do is tap into Jasper's, on the left-hand side, you notice how many of these different templates, these pre-built workflows and frameworks all across the board. Well, you can write those and you can work with these different templates alongside what we're doing over here in our Boss Mode document. And so what I've done is I've gone through on this left-hand side and I've selected a mini VSL template. This is search for templates. You can type in mini up here. And what that will do is pull it off. And so you'll see I've got my mini VSL right here. And right here, I've got my, my Boss Mode. And so what I'm going to want to do over here, and this is, again, as you guys go through this content and as you're building out your different, like for whatever offer you're working with, you can run these commands once and then you can use and mix and match them quite often just to make different content based on what we're generating right here. So I'm going to paste that over into my Boss Mode. And I'm going to give Jasper some of my content brief example. We've been using the dog owner or the dog trainer. And so I'm going to say I'm an avatar, dog owners, niches, dog training, and primary goal is well-behaved canine companion. And so what I want to start doing now is instead of running all of these different commands over here right away, I just want to start filling out piece by piece this mini VSL to ultimately add in everything that I'd want to include for, let's just say, a dog training service that I'm offering here. So I'm going to say Darby's dog training. Again, insert with your product, or if you're an affiliate of a product, you can add that here too. My ideal audience is dog owners. Again, just 2 words, really simple. The key features and benefits of my product are just going to be like a in-person 7-week course to take your pup from misbehaving to best friend ever. Right. And again, you could just copy and paste any amount of like additional benefits and features that you have, but you also want to add in the different things like what are some of the negative circumstances or experiences that maybe your customer is experiencing right now. And the reason I added this recipe alongside of this template is because sometimes you can kind of hit a wall with generating these different variables. Like, well, maybe what is it? Well, first thing that comes to mind is like maybe my dog is not being potty trained young means not trained well forever. Negative, scary fact is like most pups, don't get trained right. 7-week best buddy course, right? Just big idea. Kind of what we're talking about, what we're hitting on here, any number of social proof or customers that you're going through. I'll just say we've got dozens of customers right here. Niche would be obviously dog training. So whatever niche you're working on yourself. Customers' initial goals. So again, we've already talked about that over here. We've got our well-behaved like canine companion. So I'm literally just kind of filling out, going top to bottom on a template like this. And then I'll use that to generate numerous amounts of different pieces of copy that I can use for emails, as well as videos inside of my sales funnel and landing page too. So, so we've got initial goal right here from our customer. And let's just say I'm struggling with what are maybe some of my customers' big goals in this case. So I'm going to copy this right here onto next to my recipe. I'm going to go down to big goal and I'm going to do the same Command Shift Enter inside of Jasper. And I'll say, okay, so customer's ultimate goal that results from their initial goal is to have a well-behaved canine companion capable of responding confidently and consistently to commands. So like this, for example, would be a good like ultimate, like your dog is responding confidently and consistently to commands. So one example of some of an output here, Jasper gives us something to brainstorm with. I can copy and paste that back here into my template. And I'm also going to take another one, able to socialize in different environments. So I've just added those in. Product delivered, 7-week in-person course, product name, Darby's dog training, product price, say it's $139. I have no idea how much dog training like this would actually be charged for, because it's a made up example. And let me see here. So what I've done here, I don't know why this bottom of the screen is cutting it off a little bit, but there's a generate button right down here on the bottom. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, what's spinning right now. But basically, I've given Jasper this context right here inside of the mini VSL template. And now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see a number of different examples, 3 in this case. I can generate up to 12, but these are now outputs from this template that I can take. And again, we could take this and add them in the form of an email that we'd want to be sending someone to. And so you've got this one, hi, Darby from Darby's dog training. You have a pup that's driving you crazy, one that barks incessantly, won't stay off furniture, and most importantly, won't seem to catch on to potty training. Well, you're not alone, right? And so it starts to go into the body of this, this framework. Again, I would take this, I would edit it, modify it, and then this could be a really great driver of an email to go send somebody to purchase this course from me, if that was the desire of this email. You know, another one right down here. Again, this difference between template and just using boss mode is now I can, instead of just generating one output and then rerunning the command, I can take this same template that we just went through right here, and I can get another 5 variations based on the same context that I just put into it. And again, when it comes down to email, all of this, all of this is all boiling down to how much copy can we generate and how can we continue to test this copy and put it out there and see what's converting and what's not converting. So, and you can see I just generated 5 more examples based on this mini VSL template that you can then take, say, hey, I really like this one. For the next minute, I'm going to show you, in this email, I'm going to show you how our 7-week best buddy course can take you from pup misbehaving to best friend forever. It's like, unfortunate fact is that like most pups, don't get trained right and never end up being potty trained young. This means they're not trained well forever. But that's good news is our course is an in-person course that, will help get your pup responding confidently and consistently to commands and socializing in no time. You notice this was exactly what we came up with over here, right, in our recipe from our customers' goals. And so like highlighting that, because what you put into a template like this, just as what you put into any of these different AI tools that you might use, even if it's not Jasper, if it's just ChatGPT, you're bringing this information and this research into the table, and then you're letting Jasper take that, plug it into its frameworks, and then create the copy for it. If you don't like it, you can edit, modify it, all of that stuff. But again, the type of content that you're putting into here is going to dramatically improve the quality of the outputs that you're doing. And of course, the more that you know your customers and your audience and your market, the more on point all of your content is ultimately going to be. And so that was 3 ways in the first part of this training when we're looking at emails that we're demonstrating, and how you can use these recipes and how you can use these templates in Jasper to engage with, to nurture with, and to ultimately convert people through the email channel. And then the next half of this training, we'll be covering some more of the landing page examples. I want to put a quick pause there, make sure we don't have any quick questions, Mark, or otherwise before we jump on.
Good timing. We do. We have a bunch of questions about Jasper in general. Just quick note on that. We did get the link. Austin just sent it to me, so you could find that in the chat. And we're also going to paste it on Slack. And that is for 25% off the first 3 months after a free trial. So let me go and check that real quick. Actually, if you just click on the link, you can see what it is. But we do have some questions for it. Let's start with Dave Albano, one of our favorites. With all the new advanced functionality coming to ChatGPT 4 and the ability to train ChatGPT to basically do anything, do you see value in Jasper when Jasper is using GPT as its underlying AI engine anyways?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great question, very relevant with especially GTP4 or GPT-4 coming out just what, a week ago or so, right?
Mhm.
So we're very exciting. Stuff moves very fast in this case. And this is something that's been asked a lot in the community. And so, like, personally, I don't think it's an either or specifically, but I do think it depends on your workflow and what ultimately, like, what you want to accomplish. Um, as you've probably seen, OpenAI opening up a lot of different ways for you to plug into their API, create your own apps with these tools, train it on your own sort of models. And I think that's fantastic. And it's going to open up a lot of opportunity for so many people to create so much with AI, where where I personally get the most value with a tool like Jasper, and what I do see from folks that I work with that are actively running marketing teams or running their own business and are wearing tons of hats, is not everyone wants to necessarily be a prompt engineer. Not everyone necessarily wants to go and develop their own AI app. Some people just want to go and plug into a pre-built template or a workflow or a recipe, and open it up inside of Jasper, get it done, and then move on to the next thing they need with their copy. Now, I know a lot of our recipes and prompts that we've demonstrated here will also be utilized inside of a tool like ChatGPT. One thing you are limited on when you're working with an interface like ChatGPT, which I'll show you how I use both of these tools in this next for the landing page side, is ChatGPT I'm finding is very good for generating a little bit longer form sort of content with a lot more context initially. And we're finding new ways to use that alongside Jasper every single day. But the problem is I'm not able to kind of like edit and modify documents directly inside of ChatGPT. If I get like a framework that I want to build off of, I either have to move it to Jasper, or I need to move it to like a Google Docs or some other word processor to start to kind of like turn it into its final product, essentially. And so I do find using both of them kind of side by side. And I am exploring making, my own chatbot, plugging into OpenAI right now. Like, personally, like I'm not, Jasper is not solely the only tool that I use. I've actually used quite a few tools in the AI tech stack, which I know a lot of people are using more than one of these tools to accomplish the type of output they need. And so all that said is, like, identifying and understanding your specific workflow and like learn, like, is it going to make sense for you to go and hire a developer, learn how to develop yourself and create your own apps and structure your own prompts? And does ChatGPT do that all for you, or do you need to process it? Do you need to move stuff inside of Jasper? Do you need other forms of rewriting? Are you writing it? All the different questions that go into your workflow, you still need to do a lot of that work either yourself or work with a tool like Jasper that has these workflows and templates already built out. And then, of course, you can go and create your own custom recipes. And from that stage, I would say if you're well beyond custom recipes, you want to just go and make your own templates because, you're finding that Jasper doesn't quite do it for you, then it might suit you better to just go directly and start creating your own app from there. But I'm no expert in app creation in OpenAI. I find Jasper's
Mhm.
easy to just use for that templates and stuff.
No, and that's a great answer because I think it's it's a different tool. I do a lot of design. And so if you compared like ChatGPT to a design tool, I would say it's like Photoshop, where you could do anything you want, but it's also kind of a detriment because you could do anything you want and you're going to have to organize all the files that's going to go into design, versus Canva, where Canva has templates and Canva has tools that are just built in. That's like the Jasper. And so if anybody
Mhm.
needs another comparison, that's kind of similar. And the tools are fantastic, and they're broken down in a way that makes a lot of sense if you are a marketer and you don't want to keep track of everything, because it does get pretty intense. All
Mhm.
right. Another question, Darby, have you created these templates and saved them, or are they all available on Jasper?
Yeah, so if you go inside of Jasper, you notice in the template section, there's a lot of different templates. And so you can search through and filter through things from YouTube to Amazon descriptions to blog posts to mini VSLs. And those are all available for everybody that has a Jasper account. Now, if you want to take stuff a step further, Jasper recently announced, within the last few months, of opening up their API for business plan customers and people that are looking to actively build their own custom templates, like the mini VSL template, for example. Was a custom template that we built in collaboration with John Benson and Jasper to put this together. And it takes time to create these things, but like, it's so worth it once you do it, because these are things that you need to go directly to really the AI to be able to create and train it on these frameworks. And so if you're doing the same workflow over and over and over again, you're like, there's got to be a way that we could speed this up. If I just had a few different templates that solve this process for me, that'd be great. Well, either Jasper is going to have those that you can kind of piece together. You can create your own series of commands and workflows that would use kind of like that power mode that we were demonstrating. Template here, recipe here, command. That's, in my opinion, the fastest way to go about it, because you can just create these prompts inside of Jasper and then run those on a consistent basis. But if you have a specific process and you have a team that you're working with, talking with Jasper's business, like the business plan type of people, might actually make sense for you if you want to work with somebody who does this. It's their whole business is building these templates to help you create your own. Is they do have that offer now. I'm working with them on a custom template at this time as well. So just an option for you guys. Or again, if you want to go hire your own developer and do that own thing, that's going to be a different route for sure. But again, there are a few ways to go about that process.
Awesome. I think that covers kind of the gamut for now. We'll keep on going with the questions, but I want to make sure you have time to complete your other section first.
Sure. Yeah. So this next one's going to be a little bit quicker in terms of like demonstrating this use case, but I want to highlight real quickly when we're talking about landing pages is like, again, like what's the end goal for your landing page? Like, what are you selling? What's your problem or service? Who's your customer? Well, we made this recipe sometime last summer, I think, called Elevator Pitch to Landing Page, where basically it started with, how do I come up with like an XYZ statement? We do X for Y, and so they can get Z as the result. And since creating this recipe initially, I'm going to show you how you can go about this recipe to start to kind of like build and expand just from a few different variables again, right here. And so I'm going to copy this content from the Elevator Pitch to Landing Page recipe. I'm going to go back into my Jasper account. I'm going to start a new document, start from scratch. I did notice just a couple of days ago, there was a template for a one-shot landing page, which we can test out here. I hadn't actually gotten a chance to test it out yet, but I think it's a pretty cool, it looks pretty cool. If the one-shot blog post has been pretty great, then I imagine that one's going to be pretty solid too. But let's start right here, right? So you paste this recipe in, where do we go? Well, first and foremost, you need to fill out these variables, these pieces of information and context for Jasper. So like, what's the problem? What's the product or service? So problem is a bad behaved puppy. Product or service, let's say this is a 7-week dog training intensive. Ideal client, dog owners. Benefit, we'll say like the same primary goal, have a well behaved canine companion. Then offer delivery, let's just say like in-person training. Okay, I fill that out right here. I'm just going to copy it and paste it over here back into the context, because I just want to make sure Jasper's always going to be referencing this, and it's because it's toggled on right now. Jasper's going to continue to reference this. Here we see, now I can go down to this command for the elevator pitch and give Jasper a command to write a compelling elevator pitch. Are you having trouble with your bad behaved puppy? Our 7-week intensive, you can, see, and so Jasper's starting to give us some ideas. We can brainstorm. Oh, that was the wrong hotkey. Again, one example for how to use Jasper for like an elevator pitch. And notice here that Jasper is starting to write and prompt itself landing page content, because it recognizes up here that we're writing an elevator pitch to a landing page. And so I don't necessarily want Jasper to just start writing, a whole landing page. And so I'm actually going to like reel it back a little bit. I'm going to say, okay, let me get another elevator pitch that I might want to use here. Struggling with bad behaved pup, our in-person training, right? And so I'm getting a few different variations that I might want to use for it. And we'll just stay with the second one right here. We'll say, okay, elevator pitch. This is what our elevator pitch is going to be. Well, now I want to go and start brainstorming everything else for my landing page, essentially. And so what this is called right here is, I call these command stacks. And it's basically a series of different commands that ultimately I'm going to want to run if I want to create like a lot of the different content and like pieces that I'm going to plug in for my landing page. So I'll say like, write a compelling offer for O. O is in-person dog training, right? Who is this offer for? What is the product? Explain it. You can go and run any number of these directly by themselves. I would just go say Command Shift Enter, offer, and Jasper's going to start with giving me an offer. Alternatively, if you want to be a little bit more than one bird with one stone, like we got 19 different commands here. Well, we could, in theory, like write and have Jasper start to answer all of these in order. If we go down to a command like this and have Jasper to really point it and say like, hey, I want you to start writing and expanding on any number of these commands up here. And so what I did was I click compose, and you notice how Jasper's writing it C1. Let our 7-week dog training intensive help you overcome bad behavior with their pup and have a well-behaved Trainine companion. Like that might be like a good headline, right? How to overcome bad behavior with your pup. Right there. Who is this offer for? C2. This offer is for dog owners who are struggling with their pets' bad behaviors. And so now that I know that Jasper is starting to like answer each of the questions I've given it in order, like effectively, I'm just making sure that it's giving me these different outputs that I'm going to go back through, analyze, and then take away what I actually want to utilize for my landing page. And we're talking about whether it's for a physical product or a service that you're offering. One of these commands in here, you notice right here, command number 7, create 8 modules for O around X, right? If you have an online course, right, this would be where if you already have the modules created, then like this, you might want to just like line out, hey, if you guys are getting this course or this in-person 7-week course, right? Week 1, basic obedience. Week 2, socialization and puppy etiquette. Week 3, nutrition and health. Week 4, right? And so you could apply not just a course module, but this could be for, you know, a service agreement that you're putting together for, these are all like, you know, maybe like the features that our product offers if it's a physical product. And again, you can pick and choose any number of these commands. You guys can copy them all from here inside of this document and explore just using these commands inside of Jasper to take your content and then ultimately generate a lot more copy all at once. I want to pause here before finishing all 19 of these to go and now demonstrate a case where I might find that ChatGPT-4 is a lot more effective for just brainstorming this stuff. So you notice I've had to click compose quite a few times here. And like, these are all things that are going to be good to use. But if I'm just like brainstorming right now, which quite honestly, like is where I find the AI tools to be like most effective and like just coming up with different benefits, perspectives, features, like who's this offer for? Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to take this, what I've given Jasper right now up here, and I'm going to copy all of this content now. And nope, not all of that. I'm gonna copy this. And I would preface this with a week and a half ago, I don't think that I would have ran this inside of ChatGPT, but now GPT-4, and just a side note, I've seen that it's been able to break down and reference about 15,000 characters worth of content in this box, which I've been using to break down short podcasts. And taking away like keynotes and action items and like writing blog posts from them. So like you can put a lot of content in here now. And because I've just given it elevator pitch to the landing page, this is what this is. After that, that's what we're creating. Bad behavior, all the stuff we already gave Jasper. I'm just going to click enter here and I'm going to let ChatGPT like run with it. And again, highlighting where you might like this and where you might find that chat isn't the best for this is that it's on a run right now. And I can't just stop it and then re-erase C1 and have it run it out again specifically. I can't stop it right here and say, okay, like I'm going to delete that and add my own terminology into it. But I can do this. I can be hands off and then I can go back in and I can take it, copy the content I want, and then go back and edit some more inside of Jasper. But you notice it's following that same sort of pattern. It's going C1, C2, C3, you know, dog owners desire a well-behaved, obedient, happy pet. And like, why do they need it? So it's just answering all of these different questions here, right? Which again, if you're coming up with all the different elements of your sales page, then there's probably going to be some content in here if you're a dog trainer that you could certainly apply to certain sections and areas of your sales page, benefits, improved obedience and manners, right? Like bullet points, we're going to cover that here in just a second. After we run through this example, like bullet points are huge, like for just like really quickly giving people like exactly what they need to know. And, you're getting that brainstormed in a rapid fashion here because you guys have access to this recipe. All you would need to do to have this run inside of GPT-4 or Jasper is just fill out the 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 little short things about your offer up here, and then let the AI do the rest. Then I'm coming back and saying like, okay, cool. I'm brainstorming. I'm reading this right now. I'm kind of like looking at this and saying like, okay, excessive barking, chewing on furniture, like excessive barking ? Like that could be like an email subject line and that like, hey, is your dog excessively barking? Like, well, this blog breaks down 3 tips to stop your dog from barking so much. Go check it out here. They land on your blog post, they read that and they say, oh, wow, like those are good tips. Oh, I didn't know these guys had a course. Right. And so, again, this is all stuff that you can add in for nurture content, for social media posts, probably what you guys have learned from like Molly and some of the other coaches throughout this boot camp. Like, what can you take? And from here, like, oh, I could turn that into a whole Twitter thread and, post that in here in 2 seconds. Right. Well, I could take any number of these problems, write a Twitter thread about excessive barking and provide 3 tips to that. Right. We could use chat for that. We could use Jasper for that. And again, we're talking about emails and landing pages here. I would never recommend actually like using any of these testimonials that Jasper is recommending. But again, like if you want like to brainstorm and you have people that might, want to give you a testimonial here, like this is always just like a starter point. Like obviously don't use fake testimonials on your landing page. When you run into this issue that GPT is kind of like tapped out, same as Jasper does, all I do, I just type continue and it goes to C16 because it knows that I'm already running this entire recipe. Like I don't need to have it like start from scratch just to go run that other one. We're going to finish out C16 to 19 and it's at the section right now where it's talking all about like FAQs, right? Like FAQ section on your website's a great place to just like handle questions, objections that people might have. Can have them on your main landing page so that anyone that's interested in your program can get all the details they want. Well, wouldn't it be great if AI could help answer basically any question that your customers might have, and then you turn them into FAQs? You could turn these FAQs into emails. You can turn them into blogs. But again, like we're talking about like a very specific direct response landing page, and you're going to want to have all of these questions answered throughout the course of that landing page. And so again, very quickly brainstorming all of these different key components that are going to lead to a higher converting landing page or emails throughout your funnel. And I don't know how long this would have taken me without without the use of Jasper or chat in this specific case, at least to get that first draft or that first variation of a piece of content out, then I can then take to the next steps of getting it out there and finishing. And then we're capping things off here for this recipe with a bunch of different headlines for the landing page. So these are all headlines that you can test for your landing page. You can headlines that you can use these for maybe different emails that you want to put out there. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a bit of content for basically, giving the AI this information and then telling it to do all of this work for us. There. So that's how I would run that recipe, taking this content and then going and like building it out onto your actual sales page. And if you guys want to simply just do a website FAQs, then this is just like a really specific FAQ question recipe that I find helpful if you're putting something on a landing page. And let's just take this for example. We already kind of did it, but again, I find this to be a pretty helpful recipe. So I hope you guys do as well. Or prompts. You would say like write a list of top 10 FAQs for this offer, list out each one. Again, you could just take this, and now that we've already given the AI a ton of context, again, it's just taking all that context we just gave it, and now it's going to start writing out 10 different FAQs plus answers for this offer that of course you could take, add to your recipe and your landing page and all of that stuff. So it's just going to keep running out the rest of those 10 on that front. And so we've got one more recipe stack that I want to show you guys before put another pause on things. And this one, I'm going to jump back into Jasper, and I'm going to show you how now we made this recipe in collaboration with John Benson as well, for basically taking like the key content from the lead of a sales page. So like the core information at top of maybe a sales page for your offer or some another offer that you're writing content for, or another product you're selling. And how do you take that from a sales page that's already existing and then turn it into an email, and then take that email that you've created from the sales page and turn it into some killer sales bullets that will be used throughout your funnel and to help with increasing conversions. And for this one, for example, I've got this this dog training, potty training recipe or landing page that we're going to be using. So I'm going to do this now. I'm going to copy the final recipe here. I'm going to go back into my Jasper account. I'll open up a new document.
Just while you're doing that, Darby, I think a lot of these questions between ChatGPT and Jasper, one of the big things you have is that since they're changing ChatGPT, since it's technically a research platform and not a product, with Jasper, it's a product. Like there's a bunch of developers, an entire company to support it and answer questions and do all that kind of stuff, versus ChatGPT research tool. You don't get any of that. So, and you also get variations like the stuff that Darby just did, you couldn't do last week, and now you can paste links. And so if you want something more stable, then that's another reason why Jasper is being used.
Mm-hmm. So here with this last recipe, what we're going to do is basically take content from a website that we want to then use and pull a lot of the key information out from it that we would turn into an email. Also taking that from an email to, again, creating some really killer sales bullets. So what I'm going to do here, and Jasper looks back about 3,000 characters from wherever you're running one of these commands. And so I've got roughly 3,000 or so characters of content I can give it as context. So I'm going to just copy over the basic information that I want Jasper to start referencing. I'm going to copy that. And then I'm just going to copy all of this information. Let's do it here, copy that. All right, here, let me see if there's any more we want to grab. Potty training now is more cost effective. So I'm going to copy this. And this could be your offer, could be an affiliate offer, could land a client to write emails and landing pages for them, because you can give them this pretty quickly using these recipes if you want to. But I'm just going to take that. And so I've given Jasper now this much context to pull from. So now I'm going to go back here, create a 200-word promotional email with a clever subject line. So I'm going to go here with my cursor at the end. I'm going to click compose. Subject line, get rid of those potty training blues. Are you tired of losing sleep over late night cleanups? Frustrated with having constantly scolded your pup for accidents in the house? Are you curious to find the best way to successfully potty train your pup? This sounds familiar. It's time to join our frustration-free approach to potty training your pup. Proven method. It's helped countless pet owners, right? So this is kind of turning into a very, trying to make a sale on your program here. No more stress. Make it easy for you to save time. Join us today. Stop worrying about poop, peas, and messes. Right, sign up today. Take advantage. And so, again, we got like one email pretty quickly. Got a money back guarantee. So people, add that guarantee in there to kind of help with your conversions. And now, once you generate an email here, we can take that same email and then we can get Jasper to write out top goals and our top problems, complaints. So achieving a lifetime of good habits with your pup, easily avoid crate and house accidents, recognize their pups officially trained. So like these, again, you could take these, you can add them into your mini VSL template there. You can take these and repurpose them for a lot of other type of content. But now we've got, again, more focused goals and complaints directly pulled from like what our sales page is saying. So the copy is going to be congruent. Now we can take that again and we could rerun this command again to just, keep writing out emails. And again, those those other rewrites that we talked about at the very beginning of this training, from the big JSON email for rewriting content and then rewriting those again, you could add those into any number of these outputs that we're creating right here. So again, you could run through the rest of this email. Here, don't have to go to the props alone. Potty training now. Join us now. So again, we got 2 emails pretty quickly based off of the sales page that's already existing. And now that we've got a few of these emails and quite a bit of context here for Jasper, this is a pretty sweet command for coming up with those sales bullets. That again, if like headline and you had like top 3 sales bullets and then like an opt-in, like you'd be pretty set for almost any offer that you have. Like if you're just like driving someone to opt in for anything specifically, especially a lead magnet. So here's like achieve a lifetime of good habits with your pup so you can trust their behavior anytime and anywhere. Easily avoid crate and house accidents that lets you forget about worrying about poops, pees, and messes. Know the exact timing to potty training, empowering you to see immediate results. So it's kind of, you know, achieving this so that you can do this, right? Brainstorm some bullet points, take these bullet points, add them to your emails, add them to your sales page for opt-ins, and you'll be in good shape to have some pretty solid, pretty succinct bullet points that are really designed for, you know, we collaborated with John Benson on these. I think the guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to copywriting. And this is a framework that is just proven to work very effectively for writing concise bullet points that, you know, again, we're wanting someone to opt in on a sales page, headline, 3 to 5 of these bullet points, opt in. I think you'd be, you know, off to a pretty good start with that. And so this is where this recipe would come into, especially like for those like shorter form opt-ins, but also just as you're writing out, you know, any sort of like copy in your sales page, you know, unlocks the secret to effectively potty training your pup so you can prevent wasteful late night cleanups, right? Like, it's like not a bad bullet. It avoids crate and house training, lets you like keep up with a stress-free home environment. Like again, all stuff that you want to test, but like how quickly now, based on the sales page that you already know, like ideally is already converting to some way, like you can use these bullet points to beef up any sales page, any email campaign that you're sending to drive people to, and get those leads to more conversions. So that's that recipe.
Nice. It's a lot of recipes. I
It
keep
is.
thinking of the cooking websites I made though. Like, oh, recipes. Let's see. We have quite a few questions just about the use of Jasper compared to ChatGPT. And then there's a few others just about, you know, Jasper itself. So we'll start at the bottom. Curious if Darby has some copyright ownership concerns for emails, landing pages, and scripts like Julia mentioned on the long form blog content. And with Jasper, do they hold the ownership of what we create with their tool?
I know copywriting right now in general with AI is a big topic. So there's a lot of conversation around that just kind of across the board. And my understanding with Jasper and the copy that you're generating in it is that it's yours to use and it's yours to own. Now I can't speak for what like the US like court systems are going to say about AI copy and such. So like again, like a few days ago, I read an article on it that there was some very active conversation for like what they deem true and not. And so yeah, I don't want to like,
Yeah,
say, like I don't necessarily know it like directly, like with the copy that you're generating, Jasper, like it's not theirs, it's yours to use. But like right now, in what, March 27th, 2023, like a week from now, like something could totally change in terms of like what the courts and stuff decide on that. So I mean, I think this is one of those things that, I mean, I wouldn't like not use content that you're creating from here, but like I would still say like anything you're generating, like you still want to like have your own like creative like perspective, your own uniqueness added to it in like some way. Like again, like Jasper and even ChatGPT, like while a lot of the stuff comes out sounds like really good, it's very rarely something that I'm like, oh cool, let's just send that and that's it. Like I'm taking it, I'm modifying it, I'm editing it a little bit, and then I'm moving it down the line of the production process at that point. And so, you know, I don't know, if the government says it's not my copy, then I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, and just so everybody knows about loose legal requirements, if you do, they judge by intent. And so if you do, or if you're afraid about copyright or using copyright materials from an AI, just modify it just a tiny bit, because even a tiny bit, you could claim intent that you're trying to avoid copyright issues. And then that might be enough to avoid a lawsuit. Now don't quote me on that. I'm not a lawyer, but I've dealt with lawsuits before, and that's that's a component of it. We do have a lawyer that we like to use sometimes, so I'll look into getting him on for his input, but there's just no solid legislation, and there probably won't be for a while because everything changes so fast that I have no idea when they're going to actually come out with something. So in the meantime, I would say just use Darby's advice, modify, you're a marketer, you do your job. Is usually the best course of action. Let's see. And that actually kind of leads into ND's question. How much quality control checking emails do you have to do with Jasper? Is the output pretty close to 100% most of the time, at least once you're dialed in?
I think it gets closer to like a finished product, the better you know, like the frameworks that you want it to come out in specifically, and like kind of, I guess, like at the scale of like understanding like what's good copy and what's not good copy is like ultimately going to help your decision and like what's good with Jasper or chat. Like, because like take for example, you say write me an email, Jasper or Chat GPT or whatever. It's like dear fellow readers, like I'm never going to start an email with dear fellow readers, but like I just make a quick edit here or there. But sometimes it sounds like very radio voice, like very like this is a sales commercial that you'd hear like on an infomercial on the radio for our product. And like that's just like sometimes how the AI outputs it. And so what I find is like when I'm looking to create, like, let's say like an email and like Big Jason's, for example, he like, and those are all frameworks that work very effectively for writing specific types of emails. Like I'm pretty close to the final product because I know it's going to look like that every time. I'm just changing verbs, primary goals, solutions, offers, like the things that you're going to change regardless inside of the framework. Sometimes it takes a little bit more fine tuning, and sometimes that works really great right out the gate. But usually if it's just like up for grabs, AI, write me an email series here, like you're a lot further away from the whole than if like, hey, like based on these three like examples above, create an email that fills in these spots, but also does X, Y, or Z. Like I tend now I'm a lot closer right out the gate because I have the templates and the frameworks. And so again, that's why I wanted to share a few of these different types of recipes with you, so you could like see how Jasper works with that, but you could also go and create your own templates, exact like an own framework, exactly like we've done with the Big Jason email example. And because if you know something works once or you works really well and you want to write a bunch more of it, then you could just turn that into a template and a framework, turn it into a recipe, and then you'll save a lot of time. And that's again kind of where we go with templatizing things as you understand your workflow.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that's just best practice for marketers in general. If you try to do something yourself once and then you use that as the template, even if it's not perfect, it'll still be a lot more original than if you didn't do anything in the first place. Let's see. We have a question from Michelle. She says, my main question is on the compose a command feature of Jasper. Was Darby using that option in Jasper?
Yes, I tend to switch between composing, which is the control or command J, depending on your Mac or PC, versus command. Depending on how much of a prompt I'm giving it, and I can share my screen if that would help, maybe like an example
Sure.
real quickly, because in Jasper, if I were to give this the command shift enter, like this specific prompt, upper right-hand corner, you see the keyboard shortcuts, command J is how I was running this one, because it is only going to be able to run a command that is, I think it's like 200 characters. You notice up here. And so like, I can't even like run this in the form of a Jasper command per se, but I find that because the instruction is here and Jasper recognizes the context above, like I'll often use just compose in place of commands, because it's like, okay, continue doing what we want here. And that's how I set up a lot of these longer sort of prompts to operate, so that you just have to click compose and it keeps going down the desired outputs.
All right. Let's see. Is there a way to tell Jasper to keep the result to a certain length, referring to the areas in brackets, the recipe?
There is. I find that still isn't. I've had a hard time getting Jasper. Hey, I need a 50-word like bullet point cap here. Sometimes it'll just go over for some reason. Sometimes it won't. I tend to find with shorter words, like, hey, keep this within the 2 to 3 words. Like being very specific with that inside of your prompt is very helpful. So like write 3 headlines that are like 3 to 5 words long. Like sometimes Jasper is going to be a little bit better with the shorter ones. But if I say, hey, write like a 200 word or a 300 word or 150 word description for a product, the longer that the word outage tends to be, I find that Jasper can tend to be a little bit more hit or miss in that regard. But I say that now, and like it could drastically improve, like soon, like again. So I would really just recommend playing around with that in it and like being very, very specific, right between 100 to 150 word output, expanding on this here. You might find that it works really, really effectively there. It's been kind of hit or miss for me.
Nice. Let's see. I find that ChatGPT gets a bit redundant with keywords used, i.e., discover, experience, etc. How do you exclude this with Jasper?
Excluding specific keywords in your outputs.
I think she's saying that it repeats kind of descriptors. That makes it sound generic, I'm guessing. Or maybe just not unique.
Yeah. So with Jasper, like one thing that we find in general is like inside of boss mode is the Jasper and like in general, the AI is like really like creating this content more specifically based on the context you're giving it. And sometimes if it starts to lose that context, it can get a little bit more repetitive. And sometimes if the context that it has is maybe like it's used all of it, it could kind of like put itself in a loop, or it'll start making up stuff that doesn't really make sense. And that's where like that content brief and description on the left-hand side of your boss mode is really useful, in that you're like writing, let's say, a part 1 of like a 3-part thing that you're writing. Well, like part 1's going to require maybe like a totally different level of context that part 3 would have. You can add in different information to keep Jasper a little bit more on track inside of that content brief. But ultimately, I find that like there's a few different factors, including that content brief, including tone of voice, and then including the type of context and like the stuff you're giving Jasper before you even start writing, that can like really focus it on like, okay, where's like the end goal here? Or if there is no end goal, then like, are you moving Jasper to like the next step of your process? And knowing where like the end is at the beginning helps me anyway with like keeping Jasper a lot more on track, and not just having it get into a loop of redundancy.
Makes sense. Let's see here. Any thoughts on Jasper versus content at scale for long form content? Content at scale, I don't know if you saw Julia's presentation. Basically, they just focus on long articles.
Oh, I guess I don't really have any thoughts on that. I haven't used the tool. I know there's numerous amounts of other AI tools that have a lot of different like sorts of use cases. So, certainly wouldn't like discount anybody if that's like the question. I don't know if there's a specific.
Yeah, I think I have experience with both. Dom, I would say, it's kind of a tailored tool just for long form content. So you might have to work a little bit more with Jasper, because it doesn't, the claim for content scale is that they have 3 AIs that are putting together the content versus 1. And so they're kind of cross-checking each other. So you'd have to try to both and see what you prefer. I think right now it's just a personal preference on what you like to do. Or if you want something that's just going to do one thing versus Jasper, which could do a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Jasper's AI, is it everything, or just like ChatGPT, only from a certain date? Google's is actually indexing everything from what I've heard. That's from Vicky.
Well, I know Jasper's chat, you can search stuff real time in it using Jasper's chat feature. And I know that one will pull stuff real time. I'm not 100% sure inside of boss mode if that's pulling stuff real time or not. But I do know that since GPT-4 has come out, that Jasper's integrating that into its models as well, where it works best.
That makes sense. Let's see, talking about other language output in Jasper, for example, all the ICP, all the commands I can input in English and have the output in a supported language. Is that possible?
I haven't really written in Jasper much using other languages, but I think that you need to put, when you select languages in Jasper, it's going to reference, like, I think it's referencing, maybe Lauren, she probably has a better idea. I know that she's been making some comments in here.
Lauren, you want to unmute? Or do I need to unmute you? Has to.
Okay. For Spanish translation specifically, oh, it's not, you can hear me, right? I found it to be as effective as Google Translate. Like, we start from a prompt from Spanish and then it'll just do its own mind of things. And like the best example is like when you have gum, you're talking about the gum in your mouth and not bubble gum you're chewing. So it does those weird, awkward, clunky. This is clearly not a native Spanish speaker. So sometimes I've just found it easier for us to write the content. It's not where it should be. It never works for scripts. For emails and blogs, they get a little bit, I mean, it's inspiration, but it takes twice as long, at least.
A lot of editing. Yeah, so I'd probably say no, or do a lot of editing, check it very thoroughly from a native speaker if you can, because that will make a big difference, especially on ads. That's actually used to be my favorite, was ads that people generated in other language that they tried to put in English and then it created something funny. Probably happens in other languages too. Let's see, got that one. Any experience with Bard, Darby?
No, I think I joined the wait list like a week ago, and I think it just opened me up to it. So I haven't had time to dive into it necessarily just yet. Looks
Gotcha.
interesting.
It does. Everybody keeps talking about it, but I'm like, I'm cool until somebody makes it useful. How about Write Sonic, another Jasper alternative?
No, I haven't used them personally.
All right. And D, you got lots of questions. Is Darby using AI for live chat responses, either real time or templates?
If you're asking the questions I'm responding here, yes, I am using. I'm just kidding. I'm using Jasper for these responses. I've seen people using Jasper for like responses, like they'll get like on sales calls or something like that, or they'll be having conversations with people, and they'll, like, I do this too, is I'll have like Jasper open, like, oh, I'm putting in context from what I'm hearing, and then I'm like asking questions that would be relevant to that conversation. And I mean, like, it's very fast in that case. And so there's a lot of different use cases like in that front. I know of people inside of the community that are using Jasper for like customer support tickets, for responding to reviews. In terms of Jasper having like a chat feature where like you can just plug that on your own website and respond that way, like, not necessarily just yet. I don't think that's a thing that Jasper is going to be rolling out, at least not like in the near future, but there's a lot of ways you can use templates for processing information with your real time and answering questions, certainly. And I imagine if we had a huge backlog of questions here, or if you're on a webinar on a certain topic and people are asking a ton of questions, you could be processing like Quora answers, or coming up with questions based on what people are, putting in through a number of these templates.
Awesome. I think that kind of, we got one more from Vicky. Can you confirm, is Jasper using ChatGPT basically for the underlying AI? The open API calls for creating applications for developers.
I know that Jasper plugs in, to OpenAI directly, and there's a number of other tools that are inside of Jasper's tech stack as well. I don't have any insight as to like all of the technical details, nor do I really want them, because it makes my head hurt reading too many API documents. But I know Jasper and their Gen AI conference, that they kind of were talking about the different stack, that all the different tools that are involved with creating these outputs. I don't think it's strictly just OpenAI, and there's a lot of training on the backside with all the developers going on that works with Jasper to get consistently, in a lot of cases, better outputs. But again, it's depending on your use case and what you're looking to ultimately accomplish with it.
Awesome. And then Lauren added from the Jasper team, real-time info is just in chat when you toggle on search results. So it looks like just a component of it. Oh, wait, she's talking to Austin.
Yeah, that's in here, guys. If you're inside of Jasper, the Jasper chat feature, if you're here, chat, like for example, like right here, like find top blogs on dog training with sources, and then I click include search results down here. I can click send, and this is like getting better every week. Like the first week when this came out, it was like sometimes it was like a 404 page and others it wasn't, but I've found that it is getting better more consistently. So if you're just like, okay, I need to find, Peach on a leash, like,
Oh, that's
interesting. So first thing to teach your puppy, right? And so you could see like, okay, here's like resources that you could use for like training your dog, FeedSpot, top 10 training blogs. So one example, that's how Jasper Chat will be pulling stuff kind of real time. And there's a bunch of different use cases for how you can use this specifically, this feature.
Well, no, nobody likes the dreaded, I don't know about that ChatGPT response, which
I'm a language model, sir.
stop
I would say
asking stuff.
ChatGPT is really pretty handy for creating tables, but I found that Jasper Chat can actually create tables as well, too, which is kind of like a cool use case if you guys are making tables, like specifically, I don't know, let me try, like.
Actually, we just put up an article the other day. This is ChatGPT. I think it was Dean. Hold on, I'll post the link to it. Get my keypad to work. But yeah, the tables feature was actually really interesting.
Let's see if Jasper Chat will do this now. Yeah, it looks like it will. And again, stuff moves so fast that a lot of these, but you just say like form a table, right? Feature benefit, custom table right here. Again, you could accomplish something pretty similar inside of like ChatGPT. Let's see if yep, there we go. So
Super useful.
yeah, I was generating like a list of like key insights and action items to take away from those calls I was transcribing this weekend, and I was like, wow, this is super easy, because like reading all this stuff in bullet points tends to make my eyes gloss over it a little bit. So cool use case for both of them.
That's fantastic. Well, I love how all your recipes can be used in ChatGPT, maybe not as efficiently, but definitely still applicable. So if anybody wants to try, doesn't want to sign up for the Jasper, and we did put the link in a bunch of places. Action items today. That's a good question. What should people try to do next?
I think everyone should go and obviously like save a copy of that document that we gave you guys so that you have access to those different recipes. But action items, I would say, is just getting really clear on like who your avatar and what like niche you're serving in, and testing those out inside of, again, I do most of my testing inside of Jasper directly for all of these recipes, and some of them can get applied directly to ChatGPT very well, some of them not quite as effectively, but ultimately you're going to get better results the more clear you are on your avatar and what niche you're serving. And then finding that primary goal is also a really key one for 3 like really good baseline places for the AI to start that can really dramatically like help speed up your product research, your market research, and that sort of thing. And when I'm talking about avatar and niche, like those are like, it seems simple, but like it's actually probably one of the more like things that I got hung up on initially, as well as I see other people like getting hung up on when you're picking these, is like thinking about obviously who the person is you're serving, but like the niche being like, okay, avatar, dog owner, niche, dog training, right? I mean, that's like pretty obvious. But if you just put a word like new dog owner, and then the niche would be like puppy training, like just comparing the outputs that you get between those two like ideas of what your avatar and your niche might be, like might take you totally different routes that you never would have thought about. And so being open to testing and being open to like playing and exploring with a route here. Like another example is, I think we were working with someone who is like avatar was like, let's just say like medical practice owners. And then the niche was like medical equipment. And they were getting all of this content was all like about medical equipment, stuff like that. But they're like, no, I want to like target medical practice owners to sell them our medical equipment. And it was like really expensive medical equipment. But it was like, oh, well, if that's the case, well, your target is maybe the business owner of the medical group, but the niche is really like business development or business growth, because they're wanting to like grow their business. And so like we just changed the niche there, and the content was way more in line with what he was actually looking for, which was like he's helping these practice owners grow their business by having their medical equipment that they're purchasing from him. And like, so again, like we kind of troubleshooted that on a call, but the outputs from Jasper were like night and day different beforehand because of just one small little tweak. And it was just because we played around with the avatar and niche and what ultimately their goal was. So that'd be my number one advice, is get in there and start playing with it, and, you know, just practice.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And so I'll just say the action item is to use the recipe to actually generate a landing page and email series for an avatar. I did put the link to Digital Marketer's customer avatar worksheet that's on the front end of the Digital Marketer website. You could train, Jasper or ChatGPT about Digital Marketer's avatar. I'll actually make a video for that because it's really easy. You could actually just tell it to reference this article and then generate your customer avatar based on the canvas. So there's a little there, you do have to tweak it just a little bit, but I've done it quite a bit, and it's really easy to get a digital marketer avatar using ChatGPT much faster than the normal way, which usually takes, like a day if you're going to do it right. It does, it's not perfect, but you can generate way faster using ChatGPT than just doing standard online research. But thank you so much. We'll go ahead and cut it off just a little bit late today. Thank you, Darby, for all the information. These recipes are fantastic. I mean, it's just like copy and paste and change 4 things and you're good to go. Where can people learn more about you and what you do?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, Mark, and everyone for being on here with us. It's been a pleasure. Learn more about me at theaiauthor.com. We do, advanced AI training, community events, all sorts of things. We got a whole community of folks who are using AI, generative AI across the board for all sorts of things. And so we're always doing stuff over there. And then our YouTube channel, The AI Author, I'm going to be posting some cool new pieces of content there on a regular basis as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Darby. Let's see. Wednesday, we have Jeff J. Hunter. He's actually going to be doing more content creation, and he has some other type. And that's the coolest thing about AI is that, the recipe formula and just the generation of as much content as you want. There's a million different ways to do it. So what we're trying to do is give you guys exposure to multiple platforms, multiple methodologies, and hopefully you could either, gravitate towards one or the other, or invent your own, which is fantastic as well. Make it unique. So thanks, everybody. You can look for this episode in the next probably a couple hours, but definitely within the next 24 hours. And any questions you have, I'm pretty sure we got most of the answers. The comparison, we'll probably end up doing like an article comparing different AIs for different uses in the near future, but we'll wait until after this boot camp. So at least we get, as much information as possible to you guys before we start writing new stuff, because it's probably going to change every week, which is what's done since we started this boot camp. So thank you all for being flexible. And thanks again, Darby, for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
See you Wednesday.